Good evening. Time is 7:05. Welcome to the mayor and commissioners town meeting. Can I have a call to order and a roll call?
Would you call to order?
I just did, didn't I?
Oh, I don't know. I will give you a roll call. Commissioner Braun? Here. Commissioner Pearson?
Here.
Commissioner Warning? Let the record show you do have quorum.
Can we rise for the pledge of allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could have a moment of prayer for Mayor Marion and his family. They seem to be battling the COVID virus. And pray for the first responders and everybody that goes into harm's way. Thank you. We have no business meeting items. We do, however, have public presentations. One is ordinance 2022-04, illicit discharge ordinance. Town administrator, would you like to start with that?
Yes, thank you. What you have before you is ordinance 2022-04. This is essentially an ordinance that we are required to have as part of our MS4 requirements under the environmental law of the state of Maryland. You've heard me talk about this starting, I guess, 2 years ago in our budget, that we are now a regulated community and we have to do some, we have some responsibilities under the stormwater management guidelines for the Clean Water Act in the state of Maryland. And one of those items is to have in place an illicit discharge ordinance or program ordinance calling for a program to be in place. So what I have for you is, and this ordinance has to be adopted by October 31st, and this is our last meeting to be able to.
Okay, then we will make this an emergency ordinance.
Yes, and my understanding, and town attorney, correct me if I'm wrong, is that I would think that we would read the ordinance into the record and then a motion would be made to consider it an emergency ordinance, take a vote on that, and then you would vote on the ordinance itself. Is that correct, town attorney?
That's correct. Two
No.
votes, correct.
Now, do we need to read the entire ordinance into the record?
No, I think you could do a summary. Your reading of ordinances in this
Right.
day and age is
Let's-
necessary.
Can we do a summary then?
Yes. And so what you have here is an ordinance of the Town of Rising Sun, Cecil County, Maryland, amending the general laws of the Town of Rising Sun by amending and adding language to Chapter 13 titled Stormwater Management Ordinance by inserting a new Article 10 to be titled Illicit Discharge Detection and Elimination, and renumbering the remaining articles and to repeal any and all other ordinances and parts of the ordinances in conflict. I'm going to skip down. Whereas the Town of Rising Sun has a system of conveyances owned and operated by the town designed or used for collecting or conveying stormwater MS4 and has been designated as a Phase 2 small MS4 municipality under the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, NPDES, and as such is required to implement minimum control measures to include an illicit discharge detection and elimination program. The IDDE program is designed to provide for the health, safety, and general welfare of the citizens of the town of Rising Sun through the regulation of non-stormwater discharges to the storm drainage system through the adoption of an illicit discharge detection and elimination system. So in more summary of that, The only thing that is supposed to go in the stormwater system is stormwater itself. So by federal law and state law, and now we're required to make a town law, you can't do things like blow grass clippings into the stormwater. You obviously can't change your antifreeze or oil in your car and dump it in there. When you think about what naturally goes into the stormwater being stormwater, everything else is off limits. So that's what this ordinance is saying, that we are identifying what can't go in the stormwater system. We're identifying the right to go on property to inspect stormwater systems that are on the property, and then to enforce the state law on improper discharge into the stormwater system.
Okay, can I have a motion to accept?
I make a motion to accept.
Do I think, probably want to make a motion for it to become an emergency one, right?
Yes,
We want to,
yeah,
okay.
you want to do
All
that
right.
first.
I will make a motion that we have an emergency ordinance for 2022-04 illicit discharge ordinance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, now, would you make the motion to accept the ordinance?
Okay, I make a motion to accept ordinance number 2022-04.
I second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ordinance has passed.
Okay.
Could we move on to ordinance 2022-05? Again, we need to have this as an emergency ordinance.
Yes.
So will you please read a summary of that?
So this is ordinance number 2022-05, an ordinance of the Town of Rising Sun, Cecil County, Maryland, amending the general laws of the Town of Rising Sun by amending and adding language to Chapter 2 titled Administration and Government, by deleting, amending, and adding additional language to Article 1 titled Board Organization and Procedure, and to repeal any and all other ordinances and parts of the ordinances in conflict where therewith. So you go down to the fourth whereas. Like many other municipal governments, the COVID pandemic forced us to operate town government in a manner that could be interpreted as inconsistent with established codes and guidelines. The ability to meet in person and to operate town business in an efficient and organized manner was severely compromised due to the public health emergencies of COVID-19. And whereas, like other communities, the town embraced the concept of virtual meetings and phone conferences in lieu of face-to-face interactions. And whereas many lessons were learned during the 2-year period to include the benefits of providing for a more flexible process of conducting town business in a manner that is transparent and accessible to our town residents. And whereas the advancements of technology are making it more efficient and effective at holding public meetings to a larger audience and documenting those meetings by use of video and live streaming. So essentially what's happening here is the town is making amendments to Article 1 of Chapter 2, and I'm going to scroll here. You have it in your packet, and Article 1 of Chapter 2 is about holding town meetings. And essentially what we're doing here is giving a couple things. We're giving the flexibility of having the ability to use virtual meetings when there is a public need for it. This is not an effort to hold virtual meetings because, and I'm going to say it this way, because we just don't feel like coming out to town hall and having a meeting. If there's a public need to have a virtual meeting, we won't sort of be operating in contrast to what our town code calls for. So we're getting the concepts of virtual meetings in here. The other thing that we've learned is that by doing virtual meetings and phone conferences, that like a lot of other municipalities are realizing that as an elected official or key people that need to be involved in a meeting, you can be very productive now in doing it virtually and don't necessarily have to be in person. So this ordinance is all about making that legally consistent with our town code. The other thing that we're doing in here is many, many years ago, going back to like 2014 and sooner, the town started to videotape its town meetings. And as a result, there was no legal need to have someone do town meeting minutes. However, that creates a little bit of an issue when somebody wants to research something that happened at a town meeting. They're gonna need to know the meeting in which it occurred, which is not completely unusual, but you might have to sit through anywhere from a half an hour to a 2-hour videotape to try to find the information that you're looking for. So this ordinance is gonna call for us to essentially take our town meeting agenda, and where you see the items on here, our clerk would go through the town video and put the time that that topic came up in the video, so that if somebody wanted to know what exactly happened on October 25th regarding ordinance 2022-04 and 2022-05, we could basically put a timestamp next to public presentations, and that can guide them to where to go in the video. If they want to watch the entire video, they can, but at least it will streamline their ability to get to that location in the meeting. Some other things we've done is, the annotated code of Maryland was modified, so we had some old language referring to old sections of the code. We're also talking about using the newest edition of Robert's Rules in the document. We're also putting a lot of proper sequencing of how motions are made, how the elected body interacts at the meeting. We're sort of taking what's in Robert's Rules and sort of making it, putting it in the forefront of the town ordinance on how meetings are structured. We also had some contradictions in our town code. There was language that addressed citizens' comment 2 different ways. And depending upon how you wanted to interpret it, it would imply that anyone who wanted to speak at a town meeting had to provide written notice to be able to do that at least 7 days before the meeting. Now, we've always, long before any of us were here, sort of took that to mean that you could come to a town meeting and speak under citizen or public comment on the items that are on the agenda. If you want to bring up a new subject for the elected body to consider, that's where you would, in writing, request that the elected body take up a new subject. So we're clarifying a lot of that stuff to make it an easier read and to put more organization and structure to it. And that's generally the ordinance.
Okay. Can I have a motion for emergency ordinance 2022-05, chapter 2, town meeting process?
I make a motion for.
I'll second. It's 2 of us.
You gonna vote?
Can we have a vote?
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Ordinance 2022-05 has passed. Is that correct, Calvin?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, any old business? Moving on to new business, the meeting schedule for November and December.
So, we had originally talked about, and we did cancel the meeting for November 8th because it's election night. We have a meeting that will naturally occur, I believe, November 22nd. If you wanted to reschedule another town meeting for some time between the 8th and the 22nd, if you wanted to do it the following week, the 16th, or whatever that date is, I'm sorry, the 15th, Or do you just want to stay with the schedule now of having canceled November 8th?
I think we should just stay with the scheduling
Okay.
for the 22nd.
Okay,
We can always call an emergency meeting if something comes up that has to be dealt with immediately.
yes.
Okay, so our next meeting will be Tuesday, November 22nd. Okay, moving on to citizens' input. Anybody got anything to say? All right, staff reports. Town administrator.
I don't have a report.
Chief?
I'll be brief. I was asked earlier about the candidate we have in the police academy. To this date, he's doing very well. I pray actually that that continues because it's still difficult to find replacement bodies and some people just can't get through such a demanding academy. Second, we are in the process of writing 3 grants. They're coming up due. One is for equipment, the other is for the police retention or the refund the police grant. And the state aid for police protection should be coming here in the next few weeks. So we should be able to get those done and out, and hopefully we get some good returns. As of this date, we have had no significant trends in crime in town. Things seem to be going fairly well, and I knock on wood for that because that can change in a moment. And we are also in that period where we have to make several reports to the state on our activities throughout the year. So we've been a little bit busy with a lot of state paperwork. And that's my report, unless there's some questions.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Assistant Town Administrator.
Just one thing, we are starting our audit, our annual audit will start at the end of this week and probably take a couple of months to finish. And we're also working on winter extravaganza. That is going to be the first Saturday in December. We really look forward to having a great event this year.
Okay.
Commissioner Pearson, I'm
Yes.
sorry. I know this is of interest to you. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to be patching Pearl Street next week.
Oh,
We're just waiting for the contractor to verify scheduling for that.
did everybody hear that? Repairs are coming to Pearl Street.
Yep.
Maybe not the ones we really wanted, but at least there'll be something.
Yep.
Thank you, Town Administrator. Town Attorney,
I have no report tonight.
no report. Okay.
I don't
Well,
bill by the word.
there's no mayor's report because the mayor's not here. Commissioners' comments. Commissioner Braun?
I have no report.
Commissioner Pearson, I have no report. Okay. Upcoming town meetings, next town meeting will be November 22nd. Upcoming town events, as Judy said, Winterfest is Saturday, December the 3rd, from 3:30 to 8. Upcoming holidays where town hall will be closed, Veterans Day, Friday, the 11th. So there, Calvin, that falls on that day. Will there be trash pickup or will there not be trash pickup?
We have at the bottom of our
right.
agenda, it always lists the national holidays.
Okay.
And Veterans Day is not listed as a holiday for them.
Okay, so yard waste or trash and recyclables will be picked up on Friday the 11th.
Yes.
The next holiday is Thanksgiving, and town hall will be closed Thursday and Friday. Yard waste is collected every Monday except on a federal holiday when it's picked up Tuesday or inclement weather. Trash and recyclables will be picked up on Fridays pending weather-related issues. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did you ever figure out what happened with the trash that Friday?
Can you say meeting adjourned?
Meeting adjourned.